Hi, okay, let's have a look at exam questions relating to algebraic expressions. Now, some of them will be a bit tricky and you may not have seen something like this before, but we'll work through them. So we've got an expansion and simplification of something, it tells me the coefficient, so the bit in front of the x squared is equal to the coefficient of x. So we're going to open this out. X times x, x cubed. X times 5x gives me 5x squared plus kx, which is x times k. So I'm timesing those all out and then multiplying everything by minus 3. So I get minus 3x squared minus 15x minus 3k. And I'm told the coefficients, the bit in front of the x squared. So I've got 5x squareds minus 3x squareds. Right. So we've got 5 minus 3 to give me 2x squareds. And I also am looking for the x's. So I've got kx and 15x and minus 15x. So I know that 2 is equal to k minus 15. So k must be 17. Add 15 on both sides. Right, we're going to factorize fully. So first, we're just going to look what common things are in everything. So we look at that and it's not obvious. So the only thing there seems to be a common thing with is the number. We can take 2 out of everything. So we get 3x squared plus 13xy minus 10y squared. Now, I would look at that and go, okay, and would I do anything else? You may not. But because I happen to know it was worth more marks, you would know it's more than 1 mark, so I must be missing something. There must be a way to factorize this into 2 brackets. Okay, so I'm going to say to myself, well, I've got x, y in the middle, so one of them is going to be an x term and one of them is going to be a y term. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. I'm just going to take the numbers and do what I would usually do. So I've got 3 times minus 10 to give me minus 30. And I'm looking for factors of minus 30 where I can get plus 13 from. Okay, so I could, hopefully you may see you could have 15 and 2. Yeah, 15 times 2 is 30. And if I take them away from each other, I get 13. So I'm going to rewrite that middle bit as 3x squared plus 15xy minus 2xy minus 10y squared. And then if you remember how you've done this, but you may have done it like this, you may have done it differently, is you look at the first 2 and you take out a common factors there. So I'm just going to put this underneath. The common factor between 3 and 15 is going to be 3, and they've both got an x in it. So then I'm going to get x plus 5y. And then what I do is I write down that bracket again. And then I say, well, how would I get x to be minus 2xy? Well, I have to multiply it by minus 2y. And I check when I open it out, I get the second one, which I do. So now I can see my brackets are, one bracket is whatever's in that bracket, x plus 5y, and the other one is everything else. And so I factorize that fully. Okay, next one, we've got some surds. So we're going to open this out. We've got 7 times 3, which is 21. 7 times minus 5 to give me minus 7 root 5. Root 5 times 3 plus 3 root 5. Now, root 5 times root 5 is 5, and there's a minus sign, so minus 5. So we've got 21, take away 5 to give me 16. And then you've got minus 7, and then you're adding 3. So you're going to get minus 4 root 5. Okay. Now we've got to express it in a different form. So essentially, you're rationalizing the denominator. Remember, we don't like surds on the denominator. So we're going to multiply top and bottom by whatever's on the bottom, but changing the sign. And remember, you're always going to put it into brackets if you've got things, so you don't mess it up and you don't like mix up the signs. So on the bottom, we've got the easy bit. Square the first number, 9. Square root 5, which is 5, and it's a minus between them. Now we've got 7 times 3. Oh, so if we have a look, that's exactly the same as this. So we can just write out our answer. So we've got 16 minus 4 root 5 over 4, which is the same as 16 over 4, which is 4. 4 divided by 4, which is 1. So we get 4 minus root 5. Okay. Write down 16 to a quarter. Now, wouldn't this be so nice if this came up in the exam, because we could just put it into our calculator? But even this, I think this question's from before then, or, you know, it was a beginning question. But it's the same as saying the 4th root of 16, which is the square root of 16, which is 4, and then the square root again to give you 2. Now here, you're going to simplify. So remember, when you've got powers, everything is to the power. So 16 to the 3/4, and then x to the 12 to the 3/4, where you have your rule where you multiply it. So 16 to the power 3/4 is the same as 16 to the quarter, then cubed. So that's 2 cubed, so 8. And this bit, we're going to do 12. Remember, when we multiply by fraction, we divide by the bottom and we times by the top. So 12 divided by 4 to give you 3. 3 times 3 is 9. You've got x to the 9. Okay. So here's some more. Like you can see, very similar. Square root of 16 is going to give me 4. And then here I've got 16 to the minus 3 over 2. I see a minus sign and my brain's going to go 1 over. So 1 over 16 to the 3 over 2. Now we know that's the same as 16 to the half cubed. So essentially we know the square root of 16 is 4, which we already did. Cubed is going to give me 64. Right. Solve the equation. If you have indices and you have something like that, you want everything to the same base. So that's a 2 and that's a 4. You look at the smaller number and that's what you want to make everything. So we know that's the same as 2 squared. So we get 2, 1 minus x equals 2 squared all to the x. Now remember, this just means we can multiply this. So we have 2, 1 minus x equals 2 to the 2x. The bases here are the same, so we can just look at the top bits. So we've got 1 minus x equals 2x. Bring that x over. 3x equals 1, so x is a third. Okay, so now we've got express 2 fractions that are taken away from each other in one form. The best way to do this is to start off, and what we're going to start off by doing is rationalizing the denominators of each one. So we have, right, 2 root 2, so this is the first one, times root 3 to give me 2 root 6 plus 2 root 2. And remember, I've timesed the bottom by sort of where there's a minus, I've made it a plus here. So it's a square of the first number, which gives me 3 minus the second number. So I get 2 root 6 plus 2 root 2 over 2. The 2's all cancel, and I'm left with root 6 plus root 2. Okay, let's take the next fraction. And we are going to rationalize the denominator again. Remember, anything that's more than one thing, put in a bracket. And so root 2 minus 1. On the bottom, we've got the square of the first minus the second. So that's just going to give us 1. 2 root 3 times root 2 to give me 2 root 6 minus 2 root 3. Now, when we take them away, it's a lot easier because we've got root 6 plus root 2. Take away 2 root 6 minus 2 root 3. So we'll have root 6 minus 2 lots of root 6, which gives me minus 1 root 6. Root 2, that's the only root 2. We've got a minus and a minus that make a plus 2 root 3. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. If you try to put it as a fraction first, it doesn't work and it gets all complicated. So rationalize denominators before you do anything. Okay, so we're now going to write something in the form of 2 to the something. So we're replacing this 4 with 2 squared. And we're opening out the brackets. Because remember, when you've got x to the a to the b, it's x to the ab. So we're essentially multiplying this. So we've got 2 to the 4x plus 2. So that would be your a. Right, now it says hence solve without using a calculator. Hence just means you're using the bit from the bit before. So I'm going to replace this with this. So I've got 2 to the x times by 2 to the 4x plus 2. 16, I want to put in powers of 2. So 2 cubed. Sorry, my voice is going. So, sorry, not 2 cubed, 2 to the power of 4. Because it's 16, sorry, 2 to the 4. So I'm replacing 16 with 2 to the 4, and that's to the 3x. Okay, when I times, I add indices. So this will be x plus 4x plus 2. And when it's to the power, I'm multiplying. So 4 times 3 to give me 12x. They're both to the power of 2, so I can get rid of the 2's and just think about the top bits. So if I put 5x plus 2 equals 12x, move all the x's onto one side, I'll get 7x equals 2. And so x equals 2 over 7. Right, next one. You've got find y in terms of x. So again, you're trying to make everything to the same power. So you look for your smallest number, which is 2. So we're going to write 8 as a power of 2. So we've got 2 cubed. We're going to write 4 as a power of 2. So 2 squared. Root 2 as a power of 2. So that's 2 to the power of a half. 32 as the power of 2. So 2 to the 5. So now we've got everything as powers of 2. When we've got these two, we can just multiply that out. So that's 2 to the 3y over 2 to the 4x. And then when we've got divide, we're taking away. So this side, we could do the take away bit, a half minus 5. And this side as well, we can take away. So we've got 3y minus 4x equals 2. And if you've got a half, take away 5, you're going to get minus 4.5, which is minus 9 over 2. And then the 2's are the same. So 3y minus 4x equals minus 9 over 2. And you want y in terms of x. So that means you just want y equals. So 3y equals minus 9 over 2 plus 4x. So y equals minus 9 over 2 divided by 3 to give you minus 3 over 2 plus 4 over 3x. Okay. So we've now got the next bit. So solve that equation. So on first glances, you'll be like, I'm trying to get x on its own. So put all the x's on one side. So you've got x root 3 minus x equals 4 root 2. Now you're going to take x outside a bracket. Root 3 minus 1. And hopefully you can now see where this is going. We can divide by root 3 minus 1. But what we don't like it like this because it's not rationalized. So we're going to multiply top and bottom by root 3 plus 1. My denominator is going to be the square of the first. So 3 minus the square of the second number. And here I'm going to have 4 root 2 times root 3. So it's going to give me 4 root 6 plus 4 root 2. Okay, so I've got 4 root 6 plus 4 root 2, all divided by 2. And I can separate that out. So I've got 4 root 6 divided by 2 to give me 2 root 6 plus 2 root 2. Makes sense, doesn't it? Let's hope it does. So I've taken x outside the bracket, root 3 minus 1, divided by it, multiplied everything out. Perfect. Okay. And that's it. That is your questions. I hope that's been useful. Leave some comments. It was a bit hard to find them because it's the first topic and there's not that many in there. But as we build on the topics, you'll see that you can have more and more questions that go with it. Okay, let me know if you need anything in the, so if we need anything, we can put that in the comments and we can go through it and I can put some extra questions up. Hope this is useful.